Sīla, moral conduct, is the restraint of our actions and speech so that we don't harm others or ourselves. And it's the foundation for the development of concentration and of wisdom. So without establishing good moral conduct, it's not possible to develop meditation. We have to have that. It's like when you build a house, you need to have a foundation to make the house long-lasting. And in some places you have to have a very deep foundation. It's also, morality is also compared to the mouth. On a being, depending on our mouth, we're able to eat. If we don't have a mouth, or if our mouth is not healthy, if we have a sore or something, it affects our ability to eat food. We might not be able to get enough. And with morality, it's the mouth through which we can get concentration and wisdom. There are many kinds of Sīla. There are the 5 precepts, the 8 precepts. Here we keep 9 precepts. There's 10. And then monks or nuns keep many more. The monks keep 227 monastic rules. So in order to develop concentration and wisdom, the minimum level of morality that we need is to keep the 5 precepts. That is, to refrain from killing, to refrain from stealing, to refrain from adultery, to refrain from lying, and to refrain from the use of drugs and intoxicants. These 5 precepts are also the minimums that we need in order to live together in a harmonious way. It's obvious that acts of killing or stealing, adultery, and lying are harmful to the person who has to endure that. Taking drugs and intoxicants, it's not obvious as a culprit in any criminal activity, but it's like the ringleader, because when we use drugs and intoxicants, we can lose our ability to know what is right and what is wrong, our ability to be able to judge what should be done and what shouldn't be done. And thus, when people have the habit of taking drugs and alcohol, it can lead to lack of restraint. So it is included in one of the precepts that should be kept as a minimum. So it's possible to meditate and gain concentration and wisdom, keeping the 5 precepts. But because we are conducting a retreat in a residential center, it's more appropriate to keep either the 8 or the 9 precepts. And I will explain that when the precepts that we keep here are for the first 5 precepts that I just mentioned, except instead of refraining from adultery, we refrain from sexual activity, even if it's with our spouse. While we're here, we're trying to focus on our own meditation, and so we stay by ourselves. And then, in addition to keeping celibacy, then we also add 4 more precepts. We don't eat food between noon of one day and dawn of the next day. And this is a practice from long ago to limit the intake of food so that we can have more time for meditation, and it's less work for the staff. It's quite convenient. And people also keep the 8 precepts. People also keep this precept as a way of saving money. But here we do it to support the meditation practice. And then the seventh precept that we keep is to refrain from entertainment, beautification, and adornment. We can, adornment meaning wearing jewelry. Of course, sometimes you have pierced ears, so you may have to keep your earrings in. Often people don't have any place to store their jewelry when they come on retreat, so they have to wear it. So, but we try not to. Only in the case of absolute necessity, like to keep the holes in our ears open. So we refrain from wearing jewelry and also using cosmetics to beautify. Of course, we can use things like deodorant and soap just to keep ourselves from offending other people. But we don't try to beautify with using cosmetics. And I'm going in reverse order with this. And entertainment. We don't deliberately listen to music or turn on the iPad or turn on the TV or whatever. When there's for example, sometimes there may be a party happening in the neighborhood, they may be playing music. That you don't, if you happen to hear that, it's not breaking the precept. But we don't deliberately turn on the entertainment while we're doing meditation. And then the last rule that we have here is to develop an attitude of loving kindness towards all beings. So of the 8 precepts, the last, the precept to limit the eating, to refrain from beautification, entertainment, and adornment, and I forgot. Then also we don't sleep on a high or luxurious bed. We sleep on very simple beds that are really good for just one person. So when we have a very nice, comfortable, big place to sleep in, we want to sleep longer, and we also may feel lonely in a very big bed. So we might want somebody else to be there with us. So this is why we try to keep it simple and have beds that are good for one person, and don't encourage a lot of lying around in bed. So these precepts, unlike the first 5, they don't harm other people. If we eat 3 meals a day, it doesn't harm anybody. If we wear jewelry, it doesn't harm anybody. If we watch TV, it doesn't harm anybody. But when we don't do these things, they support our meditation by giving us more time and by making our life much more simple. So we take these precepts while we're here. Sometimes we may feel that we've broken one. We can retake them. We retake the precepts every day so that they can be as good as possible, because this is our foundation for doing the work of meditation. It's important not to snack. Even though it seems like a minor thing, our Sīla will support our practice. And even though it, how should I say? Even though you can probably concentrate with some infractions, you won't be able to do as well as if you keep your Sīla pure. So you try to keep it as pure as possible. And when you feel like you might have made a mistake, especially sometimes I used to feel that I didn't tell the truth, that you retake the precept. So you recognize that this was an infraction, and then you retake the precept. So when you are at home, when you leave the retreat, you don't need to keep on taking these precepts. But 5 precepts is a good idea. So by that, when I say that you don't need to keep these precepts when you go home, what I mean is you may have families. You don't need to stay celibate if you have a husband or wife. The precepts of a layperson are the 5 precepts. So that's what I mean by that. So now that we know, if you are willing to take these precepts, then please let's undertake them. So we can start from page 12. So please repeat after me. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa So this is reciting homage to the Blessed One, homage to the one who is worthy of respect because of his purity, who is fully self-enlightened. This is the person from whom we get the teachings, so we pay respects to him first of all. And next we take refuges. Bodham Saranam Gacchami. Do people, do you need me to recite it first, or do people know how to? Bodham Saranam Gacchami.
Buddham Saranam Gacchami.
Dhammam Saranam Gacchami.
Dhammam Saranam Gacchami.
Sangham Saranam Gacchami.
Sangham Saranam Gacchami.
Dutiyampi Buddham Saranam Gacchami.
Dutiyampi Buddham Saranam Gacchami.
Dutiyampi Dhammam Saranam Gacchami.
Dutiyampi Dhammam Saranam Gacchami.
Dutiyampi Sangham Saranam Gacchami.
Dutiyampi Sangham Saranam Gacchami.
Tatiyampi Buddham Saranam Gacchami.
Tatiyampi Buddham Saranam Gacchami.
Tatiyampi Dhammam Saranam Gacchami.
Tatiyampi Dhammam Saranam Gacchami.
Tatiyampi Sangham Saranam Gacchami.
Tatiyampi Sangham Saranam Gacchami.
Tisarana Gahanam Paripunam.
Amabadde.
No, you can say what I just said is that this completes the taking of the refuges. And so you can say Ama Bade. Yes, madam. Okay. So now please repeat after me the precepts. Panatipata.
Panatipata.
Veramani.
Veramani.
Sikkhapadam.
Sikkhapadam.
Samadhiyami.
Samadhiyami.
Adenadana.
Adinadana.
Veramani.
Veramani.
Sikkhapadam.
Sikkhapadam.
Samadhiyami.
Samadhiyami.
Abrahmacharya.
Abrahmacharya.
Veramani.
Veramani.
Sikkhapadam.
Sikkhapadam.
Samadhiyami.
Samadhiyami.
Musavada.
Musavada.
Veramani.
Viramani.
Sikkhapadam.
Sikkhapadam.
Samadhiyami.
Samadhiyami.
Suramiraya.
Suramiraya.
Majja.
Majja.
Pamadatthana.
Pamadatthana.
Viramani.
Viramani.
Sikkhapadam.
Sikkhapadam.
Samadhiyami.
Samadhiyami.
Vikala bhojana.
Vikala bhojana.
Viramani.
Viramani.
Sikkhapadam.
Sikkhapadam.
Samadhiyami.
Samadhiyami.
Naja.
Nasha.
Gita.
Gita.
Vadita.
Vadita.
Visukadasana.
Visukadasana.
Malagandha.
Malaganda.
Vilepana.
Vilepana.
Dharana.
Dharana.
Mandana.
Mandana.
Vibhusanatana.
Vibhusanatana.
Viramani.
Viramani.
Sikkhapadam.
Sikkhapadam.
Samadhiyami.
Samadhiyami.
Ojjasayana.
Ujjasayana.
Mahasayana.
Mahasayana.
Viramani.
Viramani.
Sikkhapadam.
Sikkhapadam.
Samadhiyami.
Samadhiyami.
Metta sahagatena.
Metta sahakatena.
Cetasa.
Cetasa.
Sabbapana bhutesu.
Sabbapana bhutesu.
Karitva.
Paritva.
Viharanam.
Viharanam.
Samadhiyami.
Samadhiyami.
Idam me silam.
Idame silam.
Magaphalanyanasa.
Magaphalanyanasa.
Pacayo.
Pacayo.
Hotu.
Hotu.
Apamadena sampadeta.
Amavade.
So now you are all fulfilled with morality. So this part is done. And I'd like to say a little bit about the practice because some people have not meditated before. So we will listen to instructions tomorrow morning in full. But for now, just sit up straight and close your eyes. So keep the back straight and just be aware of the whole body sitting. Put your attention on the whole body. And it's like you see it with your mind's eye. You don't have to look at it with your real eye. You look at it with your mind's eye, as though you see it with the mind. Just observe the sitting posture, and each time you label it, this is sitting. So just put your attention on the whole body sitting, and label this at the same time as you put your attention there. Label it as sitting. It's like recognizing what this is. This is sitting. So I want to teach you how to be mindful of your posture. So there are 4 big postures that we are in almost all the time. And they are sitting, standing, walking, and lying down. So between now and the time when you get more instruction, those of you who are starting out can learn to develop mindfulness, effort mindfulness and concentration by awareness of your posture. So awareness of sitting means to put the attention on the whole body sitting and make the label sitting. When you're standing, put the attention on the entire body standing. and make the label standing, standing. So the standing posture involves the whole body. The body is upright, sturdy, stiff. It may feel light or it may feel heavy, but you just try to put the attention on the entire body standing, to encompass that posture with your mind and label it at the same time as you're paying attention to it. And so you're seeing it with your mind. Label it standing, standing. When you're walking, whenever you're walking one place to another, put your attention on the legs. When the leg makes a step, make sure that your mind is there together with that stepping movement. You try to keep your mind together with what the body is doing all the time. So when in walking, you try to keep your attention on each leg as it makes the step. And when the leg steps, you make a label. You put your mind there to observe the entire step from the beginning to the end, and at the same time you make a label, stepping, stepping, stepping. Or you can label right step, left step. And then there's the lying posture. Whenever you're lying down, just put your attention on the entire body as it lies there, and note lying, lying. Try to encompass that whole posture with your mind, so you see it with your mind's eye. So for those who are beginning, you can use awareness of these 4 postures during the time before you get more instruction. And for those of you who have already been practicing this method, you can continue according to the instructions that you know. So since most people are staying, I will say a little bit more about sitting. Just a little bit more. So as I mentioned, to first put your attention on the sitting posture and feel the whole body sitting, and label it as sitting. But after some time it may feel quite easy to just watch this sitting posture. So in that case you can observe sitting and then the touching. Label it as first put your attention on the whole body sitting, and then change your attention to the touching, for example, of the buttocks on the cushion or the bench. You just alternate between sitting and touching. And use the label. When you put your mind on the whole body sitting, label it as sitting. When you observe the touching, label it as touching. But after you observe this for some time, it also may seem, you may notice that the abdomen, the area of below the rib cage, the belly or the abdomen is moving with the breathing. So this is our main object. It's a very good object. Sitting and touching is also good, but Mahasi Sayadaw taught to make the main object the movement of the abdomen. But sometimes it's easier to see it if we start by observing sitting and touching, and then within that we may feel how the abdomen moves. So we try to watch that movement of the abdomen as it rises. We say, in English we say rising and falling, but it's expanding and collapsing is also another way of looking at it. These are just, so when the in-breath comes in, the abdomen moves. When the breath goes out again, it moves again. So you try to observe that movement with your mind. When the abdomen expands, label it, put your mind there to catch that whole movement, and label it as rising, or as you like, in your own language. And when the abdomen collapses back down again, and label it as falling. Put your mind there to capture that whole movement. If you find the mind goes away, just bring it back. Try to be there for every single movement of the abdomen. So now we'll continue for about 20 more minutes.